What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? This is DP with Nerdy Jerks. Jumping back on here. I went live the other day just to talk about some of my camera equipment and some other things in general regarding like sports videography and recruitment and all of that. And I wanted to get back on here to correct some things that I said about one of the cameras I have, specifically the frame rates about the Canon 90D. Um, this is one of my favorite cameras. I did get a mirrorless camera. This is a DSLR APS-C crop sensor. Um, I did get a mirrorless, but I do still take this with me on um, some of the shoots I have. Um, Mainly games, football games, basketball games. So that's generally what I'm talking about is sports videography right now. Um, so the frame rates for this, you can shoot 4K, and I believe it's up to 30 frames per second, 4K, and I think that's uncropped. Um, I believe it does 20, 24, and 30 frames per second in 4K. Definitely the highest, I believe, highest frame rate is 30 frames per second. But you can do full HD at 60 frames per second with this. And you can also do 120 frames per second. But once you go to that high frame rate with this, um, you lose the autofocus. So that's the caveat with the slow mo high frame rate at 120. But you can go to 60 and 120 full HD with the 90D Canon 90D. Um, and again, you can shoot 4K. So I did get a mirrorless camera, and I'll probably talk about that one in another video. But um, a lot of folks are talking about how DSLRs are dead. You got to go to mirrorless cameras and all that, and both have their advantages. One of the main um, advantages I believe with this one over the mirrorless camera I got is the battery life. I can actually get an extension on this to add two batteries, and I've actually taken this on not just sports shoots, but also I've done some short films for one of my boys. I've shot some footage for him, Tower City Entertainment, um, a couple short films for him. Maybe I'll throw his link in the description of this so you guys can check him out as well. It's my boy Barry Fantroy. Shout out to Barry with Tower City. Um, but yeah, I've used this camera on some work with him on some short films, and also again for sports videography. This it does have a good autofocus system. It's been doing pretty well for me on the jobs I've done with it. Um, so I wouldn't say just disregard DSLRs. I wouldn't say that they're dead. There is obviously the wave of going to mirrorless systems. Technology is moving toward, mirrorless. In DSLRs, folks are considering them to be, I wouldn't say obsolete, but moving to a thing of the past. But DSLRs are still some very powerful cameras. It just depends on, in a lot of cases, or in probably every case, the user and how you're actually using it, what you're using it for. Um, but for me, when I've taken this on, let's say like just shooting football, for example, the autofocus is quick enough to follow these players. I use it in combination with, I think I have the lens over here. Um, if it's at night, I generally use, one second, this Tamron 70 to 200 f2.8 lens. I use this at night for night games. Um, and I've used this in combination with the 90D, and it's done pretty well. I've posted some of the footage I've shot with this on both Instagram and on YouTube. Um, and I also have actually another Tamron lens. I like Tamron lenses. This is a 70 to 210, and it's f4. So as you can see if I can put it up here for you guys. The 2.8 versus the f4. So the 2.8 definitely heavier. It's a little bit bigger. I use the f4 during the day. It does pretty well during the day. When it gets to night, night sports, and sometimes these fields have bad lighting, I generally do not use this when I use the f2.8 version. Um, but this gives a little bit more focal length. It goes up to 210 versus 200 for the f2.8. So it does give you a little bit more focal length, but both are good. Both are good lenses. In the daytime, sometimes I'll go to f4 with this one, depending on how the sun is shining. If it's beaming off of artificial turf or something, and maybe I didn't bring a filter for my lens or something like that. It just all depends. There's a lot of factors when you get out and you're trying to shoot some sports or anything for that matter. Just the scenery could make you have to do things differently. So but I do use both of these lenses, and I do still use the Canon 90D. um and again, I didn't want to misinform people, so the live I had before, um I took that down because I gave some incorrect frame rates for the 90D. So I just wanted to get on here and make sure I was giving out the correct information. And again, so for those who didn't catch me before, I started doing this videotaping or video recording. Videotaping sounds so old that kind of lets you know I'm a little bit old school in here, but recording my daughter's uh, footage for soccer, flag football, track. She's an athlete, um, and we're doing this so she can send all of this stuff out to colleges. So I was paying people to do it before, and then I thought, after a few games, I would eventually be paying these guys, and it would add up basically to the cost of a camera. So I can go get my own camera and not pay anybody else to do it and just learn how to do it myself. And that's exactly what I did. But that has kind of grown into something more. Like, this is something I really enjoy. I've shot stuff for more than just my daughter, other kids, other schools, other teams, other sports, football, basketball, soccer. Um, I haven't done any baseball. Maybe that's something I'll do one day, but I really like sports videography. So I'm going to keep working at this. Um, I'm not, again, like I said before, I'm not trained as far as like in a school or anything like that. Um, Anyone who's thinking about trying to do something like this or is interested in doing it, you know, don't be afraid, man. Like, go get out, get your camera, get out there and just try it, learn it. Trial and error sometimes is the best way to do things. Um, I think this is something that if you really put forth some effort, and do your own research, and you're really diligent about it and have some dedication, you can get good at doing this, man. You can get good at sports videography. Um, it it is not the easiest thing to do, especially when you start. There's different ways. Like if you're sitting in the stands and you're just shooting the whole field and recording just a game, from a bird's eye view, or high in the stands. That is something different than being on the field and recording highlights for someone, where you have to zoom in on the player, or zoom in on the play, zoom in on the ball and follow it, um, or pan from one player. Like for instance, if it's a quarterback throwing a quick slant, pan from the quarterback to the receiver catching the ball, from the quarterback throwing to the receiver catching, and then follow that receiver to the end of the run. Um, it does require, if you're hand holding, if it's a hand held situation you do need to be steady. Um, I actually use a monopod with um, kind of like a fluid head for really a tripod, and I'll show you guys exactly how my setup looks. But it works for me. It's not the conventional type thing that you may see with some other folks. But that's another thing that I'll say, like, as far as everybody has a certain way that they do things, right? And if you go to like film school, or work with professional photographers or photography schools and all that kind of stuff, they're gonna tell you, you hold the camera this way, you do this, you do that. They'll have basically conventional ways of how you should be doing things, right? And I'm not saying don't do that, because again, I'm not the greatest at this. I'm not a professional, uh who's been, well, I'm not gonna say I'm not a professional. I've been getting paid for some of this stuff, so I'm improving. And yeah, so I will say though, again, that I'm not I don't want to make it sound like it's music, but classically trained, so to speak. I didn't go to school for this. So I don't know all of the terminology someone may spit out. I don't know all of the technical things that you should do. Um, but I don't think that I'm too shabby at this. I think I've gotten pretty good, and I'm going to get better, just because of the things that I said before. Like, I'm dedicated to getting better. I want to do this. I'm interested in doing this. I'm doing my research, and I'll get on here and just talk to you guys about how that is coming along. And if there's anybody else out there who wants to rock with me while they're doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? And they, you have something to say or something to share, put it in the comments, man. Um, I'm open to learning, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully something that I say on here, or some of the things that I say on here, can help other people who are interested in doing this. And if you're a parent who is thinking about doing this for your kid, getting your film and stuff, getting your kids' film and stuff together yourself, and doing your own editing and stuff like that. It all takes time, but it is worth it. And depending on the equipment that you buy, where you get it, I've gotten a lot of stuff used. Depending on where you get it, you could be saving yourself some money in the long run, right? And then you can actually be making yourself some money because you've developed some skills that are useful, some sports videography skills that are useful, or just filming and videography in general. Because again, like I said, I've done short films also. Um, so yeah, but um, again, back to like not knowing all the technical ways to do things, this is one of the things that I would really push, so to speak, is that what's comfortable for you. Everyone can have a technical way, or a specific way that they say, a textbook way. This is how you are supposed to do it. But is that comfortable for you? Do you feel comfortable holding the camera that way? Um, do you feel comfortable when you have to pan this way, but you've got the camera in a certain position? Uh, I don't know. Maybe a different way that isn't as conventional as some of the other ways that are generally taught. Maybe that works better for you. Maybe an unconventional way works better for you. And what is wrong with that? Hey, I have a different body type than someone else. I have bigger hands than some people, smaller hands than some people, longer arms, and all that kind of stuff. Like, so some things work better for me than others. Okay. So I would suggest do what you are comfortable doing when you're out here, filming or taking pictures or whatever. Like, you got to make sure you are comfortable. Okay. So that's one of the things that um I have really kind of focused on, is what things do I want to get that I think are more useful. So like, my equipment isn't the same equipment that I've seen other people use, and it's because I've done my research and figured, and like I say, trial and error. I've gone out and bought some things. I've tried to use different cameras, monopods, tripods, and all that kind of stuff. And then I decided which ones work best for me. And that's kind of what I roll with right now. So, but yeah, this was, I wanted to get on here again and clarify some things that I said about the 90D. I will be talking about, the mirrorless camera I've had it for about 3 months now. I'll be talking about that in another video. Um, and I'll let you guys know how that is going. And I did mention that I'd be talking about the lenses that I use for different situations, different sports, different settings. So I'll do a lens video, and talk about some other things. Hopefully y'all have a chance to get some guests on here as well. I've talked to a couple other people, because I want to talk about um sports related things as it pertains to like recruitment, like prospective student athletes, folks who are interested in going to college and uh, on a scholarship, folks who are looking for a scholarship, parents who are trying to help their children uh, with getting a scholarship, athletic scholarship, um, parents who are interested in doing their own videography, filming of sports and stuff while their children are out there playing. Um, it's not the, in terms of like watching the game, um, you may have to watch the game differently, if that makes sense. You can't, if you're filming, you can't be yelling and screaming or even cussing and getting mad and then losing focus and dropping the camera and not recording. You have to remain focused while you're out there filming your child, because you don't want to miss, what's happening. You don't want to miss the big play that they make that, could be put in a reel or something to send out to some coaches. You gotta, as a parent, you gotta maintain your focus while you're out there, while they're maintaining their focus on the field. But we'll get into that stuff, and again, hopefully some other things as it relates to college recruiting, NIL, all this other kind of stuff. I got a couple of folks that, have some kids who were already in college playing and stuff like that. So hopefully I can get get some of them on here and we'll talk about a lot of stuff. But I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. This is something I'm trying to do something with. I'm trying to build something here. So you got to start somewhere, man, and we going to make this thing happen, man. But again, like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. Watch the video about 3 or 4 times for your boy. Now I'm playing, but rock with me, man. I appreciate y'all, and I'll holler at y'all next time, man.